Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I think we'll talk more about the 14th Amendment. Obviously, it passed right after slavery was eradicated in the United States. So all those children born to the slaves were allowed to be citizens. If you look at the congressional record when they debated that, it's pretty clear. But we will talk about that today. President Trump said yesterday in his inaugural speech to restore common sense to America, just common sense. And so I'm reminded of lies, and I'm going to give you the Southern Baptist version: lies, dang lies, and statistics. Now, Mr. Bear has given us a lot of statistics today, but the reality is that 76 million people elected Donald Trump to fix the chaos that is the U.S. southern border right now. And what I've seen in my communities, and you've heard testimony in here, I had a 14-year-old girl in one of my districts drug into a bathroom and raped by a Nicaraguan who had a prior criminal record, Mr. Fabricatore. But he came here 31 years old and claimed to be a minor. And we did no background checks. We turned that man loose into the community, and he raped a girl in a bathroom in a restaurant in Wetumpka, Alabama. That's the kind of chaos that we've seen on the border. Sheriff Daniels testified. He came here and testified under oath that in 40 years of working in a border town, he had never seen the border any better than it was in 2018, and never any worse than it was when he was here just a few months ago. Mr. Fabricatore, what do you think changed? What changed? Was it anything we did here in Congress?
Well, what changed was the Biden administration letting in millions of people unvetted. The vetting at the border was abysmal at best. It was only checking for histories within the United States. So if you had someone that had committed crimes in another country—
You hadn't been here, you don't have a history in this country.
We did not know, many people who came in, we did not know what their criminal histories were.
Is that how a 31-year-old man claims to be a minor and comes in as an unaccompanied minor to this country? Because we weren't vetting anybody.
The vetting was horrible, and that instance happens a lot, where we have them claiming to be juveniles, criminal illegal aliens claiming to be juveniles because they know it will be easier to enter the United States, and they probably won't get put into detention. And the Biden administration allowed that to happen.
You know, and Ms. Vaughn, certainly we've seen this across the country. The fentanyl deaths and the sort of things that are happening in our communities. Over 100,000 kids we lost to fentanyl deaths pouring across the U.S. southern border. And in Yuma, Arizona, when we had the hearing there, folks, we literally had people coming across in labor. They were taking them to a hospital, and those ladies were delivering children in the ERs to the point that even the U.S. citizens could not get a bed when they were in labor and delivery. And one of the most astonishing things that I saw was that the hospital, by federal law, was required to provide them car seats. And so they were running out of car seats for ladies who were having children in our hospitals while the American citizens could not get a labor and delivery bed. That was going on under the prior administration. Now, so I let out with President Trump said something about common sense. I'm going to give you an opportunity, each of you guys, to tell me the one thing that you think Congress needs to do that makes common sense. How do we fix this crisis that we have? How do we fulfill the promise of securing the U.S. southern border and making America safe again? Mr. Fabricatore, I'll let you go first.
Thank you, sir. Make sure ICE is funded. Make sure enforcement removal operations has the officers necessary. Increase detention beds. We need a massive increase in detention beds from what we have now, which is around 40,000, to probably in excess of 70,000. We need to make sure that we can fund this so that we can take care of this problem today.
The chairman mentioned that. We're going to, as this committee and as Congress, we are going to make sure that we fund the president's priorities to round people up and get them out of here. Ms. Vaughn.
Another thing that would help a lot would be to eliminate all of the programs that allow people who've managed to get into the country to have their status laundered essentially into a program, a visa program or a benefit that gives them a work permit. And
Ms. Vaughn, how do you launder a status? That's interesting.
Well, you apply for a program like a U visa program, Special Immigrant Juvenile, or TPS sometimes can be granted. Even though you entered illegally, you're allowed to stay and you get a work permit. and the systems are so bogged down, you get this benefit even before your application has been evaluated or you've had a background check, and many of these have a path to citizenship.
Talking about bogging the system down, folks, in Yuma, Arizona, we had the testimony. They were getting a cell phone, $800 a month, and we were turning them loose. And then the phones are so we could call them to come to their court case, but they would take our phones and not our calls. It was quite astonishing. Mr. Newman, one quick common sense fix.
Pass H.R. 2. Stop the loopholes.
Very
the
good,
administrations have
very
exploited
good.
To do this.
You know, we passed that in the House, but the Democratic-controlled Senate would not pass it. Do you know that? You aware of that? We'll bring it back. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now you'll